Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Women Like Me Stories in Business. I'm your host, Julie Fairhurst, if you don't know who I am. And today, I'm so excited. This is going to be a really interesting conversation. So you're going to want to hang in there. Today, I'm with the lovely Heather Lynn. So thank you, Heather, for being here with us. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh gosh. It could be very long, it could be very short. In a nutshell, mid 40s woman, passionate about, healing, understanding where all of our, limiting beliefs come from, all of that, helping other women find their health and wellness all along. I'm a mom, I'm a homeschooling mom, so many different things that I bring to the journey. So thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. So homeschooling, that's quite an undertaking.
It is. And yeah, the most commonly asked question I get is, have you always homeschooled? Because of course, there's a majority of people who started homeschooling, around 2020.
Yeah.
I've always chosen to homeschool. I left a human resources management career to be home with my kids, and they are my focus right after focusing on me.
Yeah, well, good for you. There's definite benefits. I many years ago, I did homeschooling for a couple of years when my kids were in at that grade 1, 2 level. So I understand the a little bit of the challenges, but I didn't do it after that. It was like off to school you go. So, but good for you. So when I was sort of snooping around with some of your information, I found out that you talk a lot about menopause and perimenopause, and your four pillars. And I thought a really good place to start off on our conversation today would be, what is the difference between perimenopause and menopause? Because I think some people don't understand that there is a difference.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I grew up, I mean, I'm 46 and I grew up only knowing the word menopause, which I think most of us did.
Yeah.
And it was like, mom's crazy. She's all over the place. Leave her alone. She's crying. She's laughing. She doesn't know what's going on. So that's menopause, and be very afraid.
Uh-oh.
And then I didn't think of it, as a young adult, getting into family, having kids. And all of a sudden, 2022 ish, I started to have some symptoms. And I mean, we were always taught that your first symptom is a missed period. And it was like, if that's your first symptom of menopause, it's when it's going to happen. And so I had that, but then I also had a bunch of other things. I had brain fog. I was relatively fit, but I was gaining belly fat. I was starting to lose muscle, and I would be honestly in tears at the end of a workout because I was like, why can't I do the things I used to do? That led me to Google, right? Get online and do some searching. What is going on with my body? And all of these things put together led to something called perimenopause. And to answer your question, perimenopause is that 7 to 10 years when our body starts to decline the production of estrogen and other hormones, and leading into what we call postmenopause. And fun fact for all of your viewers, because most people don't know this, menopause, the word menopause, just refers to the one day where you've gone 12 months, which is arbitrary,
Yeah.
without having a period. And most of us don't know that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. So how does somebody know that perimenopause is starting? So if we're talking more about women in their maybe late 30s, 40s, even early 50s, how do they know that they are entering into perimenopause?
Yeah, really good question. So if you're like me, you see symptoms and then you look things up. What I'm trying to do is to educate women. My whole idea is being well after 40, but that doesn't mean you start at 40. It means that you got to start in your 20s being thinking about your 40s, but that's not what we're thinking about in our 20s. So how do you
No,
know?
we're not.
Right? We're like, how do we just get through this? And then 30s, it's like, yay, my life is amazing. And 40s, it's like, what is happening to me? So, how do you recognize you're in perimenopause? So, first of all, educating, being aware before you get there would be the most ideal thing. Now, I talk to women who are mostly in their 40s who say, I'm having serious bloat around my gut. I'm having digestive issues when I never have. I have low libido and no interest in the bedroom. I have vaginal dryness. I've missed a period, but then had one. They're all over the place. The brain fog. A really big one that a lot of women miss, itchy skin, itchy scalp, because the collagen production starts to decrease. And so
Oh,
we miss those things, dry, brittle hair, brittle nails, sore joints, all of these, there are over 37 symptoms of perimenopause. So your
wow.
question is like, how do women know? You kind of have to connect some dots, and knowing ahead of time would be best, but knowing now is even better. I mean, it's
Yeah.
your next best thing.
I guess it's a matter of just like you say, doing research, educating yourself, and then hopefully you don't have all 37 symptoms because you might be going out of your mind. But then and then maybe keeping track, keeping a health diary, something like that, so that they can sort of look back and go, oh yeah, right, I see this, I see this.
Yeah.
Okay, that's like you say, connecting those dots.
Right. And for me, it was kind of, all over the place. I had some other things going on in my life at the time. And of course, the past, few years have been all over for everyone,
Yes.
and not thinking about our own wellness. So, yes, keeping a wellness journal, writing down symptoms, talking to someone about it. I think that's the biggest thing. My partner's a lot younger than me. And so, she's at a different stage in her life.
Yeah.
So for me, it was reaching out to my other friends who are in the same age, going like, here's what I'm feeling. And honestly, just being vulnerable on social media, it's where I feel comfortable sharing. Not everyone does. And then having other women go, oh my gosh, I'm feeling this too, or here's what I've had. And now, just over the past couple of years, me diving in and sharing has people now coming to me going, Heather, I'm going through this. What do I do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you said that about, that you're comfortable and you're sharing this on social media, it just made me think for a second because sometimes social media gets a bad rap, but there's so much goodness on social media and what you're doing. I mean, you're helping women who maybe don't have anyone, maybe mom's passed away, maybe they don't have sisters, maybe they're just not comfortable talking about it. uh they may have a man that's saying you need to go to the doctor, you're crazy. I don't know, but thank you for doing that because I think that it's just an avenue that women alone, they can find you and even this, right, they're able to understand a little bit more about might be going on. One
Right.
of the things that I thought was really interesting when I was sort of investigating around you there, you talk about how women are everything to everyone, but we don't put ourselves first. Did you want to tell us a little bit about what you mean by that?
Oh gosh. Yes. Yes, because for me personally in my journey, so you mentioned, your mom has passed, family, etc. So my mom passed when I was early for no, late 30s, I guess. Yeah, it was almost 10 years ago that she passed, and my sister had a full hysterectomy. So, I wasn't able to reach out to either of them about this. Um, but in terms of putting ourselves first, again, being my age, my mom and that generation was all about give, give, give. And all I ever saw her do was put herself last. And that sends the message that you're a mom, you have responsibilities to everyone else around you. And if there's a little bit left at the end of your day, you can have that. And that's the message that I was given, and that so many women around my age have been given. And so I see this all the time. People will say, I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to eat healthy. I don't have time for my own wellness. And I just think you don't have time not to. And there's that analogy, and we hear it over and over again. You get on an airplane, we've all flown somewhere, and the flight attendant says, in case of a drop in cabin pressure, you'll have oxygen mask drop from the ceiling, and put on your mask first before you help others. And honestly, I started flying when I was 9, and I thought, that's really weird. Why would you put on someone else's mask? Why wouldn't you help yourself? Or why would you put on your own mask first, right? We have to help others. But as I got older, I started to realize how much sense it makes. We can't pour from an empty cup. Wayne Dyer, who I adore as, a mentor, he's passed now, but he says, if someone asks you for a dozen oranges, and you don't have a dozen oranges, you can't fulfill that need. And so for me, if I can help just one woman, and I know I already have, but if I can help a
Yeah.
multitude of women
Yeah.
choose to put themselves first,
Yeah.
it makes a huge difference in how we can serve others and our communities.
Absolutely. And I am 100% on board with that. I believe that if we take time for ourselves and to make sure that we're healthy physically, mentally, spiritually, all of that kind of stuff, we're going to be better mothers. We'll be better partners. We'll be better employees. We'll be like just all around. And I believe that we are the, men are of course important to their families, 100%. But we're talking about women, and I believe that women are the glue. And as we are healthy, that just follows everybody
Yeah.
around us, and the family seems to be like I'm not trying to put a lot of pressure on women by any means, but it's true. And if we're not healthy, then it's very difficult for us to show our children how to be healthy, especially our daughters. So I love that you and I love that analogy. Absolutely. If you don't put your mask on first, you're KO'd,
Yeah.
and now your child's in big trouble,
Yeah.
right? So I love that. The other thing that you talk about in within sort of what we just talked about is you said that that women have difficulty achieving their goals. And so I was wondering, and I started thinking about that, and I thought, well, yeah, I think you're right. Why do you think we as women have difficulty achieving our goals?
Hmm. I want to pop back real quick to something that you
Sure.
said earlier, like just right now. You said um, it was in terms of putting ourselves first,
Yes.
and that I think it's more difficult. But you said when we put ourselves first, things seem to run more smoothly. I
Yes.
think that a lot of the time, women in general, we seem to think that we need to manage everyone else, but and that takes effort. So there's a lot of energy expended when we're managing everyone else. The beauty and the flow happens when we take care of ourselves first, like you just said, mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, all of that. And the rest comes. It's so much easier, and you don't feel like it's work because they're mirroring you and you're attracting that. Like what you're putting out, it's coming back to you.
I just got shivers. So thank you for clarifying that. I just got shivers. That was beautiful. I appreciate you jumping in and clarifying that, because you're absolutely right. It's when you're living in chaos and you're feeling like chaos and all those other kinds of things, what happens is more chaos. That when you're calmer and you're more centered and all of that kind of stuff, and then that just sort of flows to you as well. So no, I appreciate that. Yeah.
Right. So then, in terms of women achieving their goals,
Yeah.
I don't think that women feel like they're enough. I think
Mm.
I think we feel that expectation to be all things to all people, but a lot of that is self-imposed. A lot of that is, bringing in beliefs from the past, taking in things from outside and going, well, if I'm not this, then I'm not good enough.
Hmm.
And we constantly have these things pulling us down, these beliefs pulling us down that we can't achieve the goals. Um, Example, I am on a weight loss goal myself. My goal was to be 35 in February. I had some revelations about some childhood trauma and how it affected some emotional eating for me. Oddly enough, that revelation happened when I was away from my family, away from my work, and I could actually
Yeah.
shave, right?
Yeah.
And we have to take that time for ourselves. But this journey to be 35 pounds down, it's not about the weight, it's about the habits I'm creating and about how I can show up then for myself and my family. But the biggest block is like, can I actually achieve this? Like, this is my goal. We tend to think so big. If I woke up every day and I was like, okay, I got to be 35 pounds down by September, it's massive, it's too big. And
Yes.
we think about these things all the time. I want this, I want that, I want this, I want the car, I want the house, I want the podcast, right? I want everything. Like, how did you get where you are? Little steps at a time. And there's the analogy of, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so
Yes.
why I think we can't achieve our goals is because there's a lot of pressure on women. There is. But I think if we fully believe in ourselves and that we have the answers that we need and we take little steps every single day, we know what we have to do. I talked about this morning in my stories. I shared some of that with you. You know, we know what we need to do. We need to, if when we look to the future, we steal the joy away from our present moment. And if in the present moment we can make little decisions just to move ourselves further and further, it happens. It literally happens. And that's the beauty of it. So I think that's maybe an
Yeah.
answer to why
Yeah,
we feel
no,
achieve.
no,
It's so big. You got to make
yeah,
it.
absolutely, absolutely, yes, because sometimes it just seems overwhelming. And I think too, we allow ourselves to be pulled in 20
Mm,
different directions.
yeah.
And I think then of course we put our goals and our what's important to us on the back burner, um, which really we shouldn't be doing that. It's not
Yeah.
it's not in our best interest,
Yeah.
and we do have to think about our best interest
Yeah.
because we have people relying on us, and if we can't pull down that air mask on the plane, we're in big trouble. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
We there's something that you just said there. We have to take our power back. Right.
yes,
I think a lot of women, we give our power away. You know, even just even this challenge that I'm doing, I'm connecting with some women, and one of them said, well, I attribute my poor eating habits to my husband because he's in charge of the meals, and when he doesn't feel like cooking, he orders out, and all I hear is he, and I go, well, where's your power in this, right?
yeah,
First of all, take that back.
yeah,
Take that back. You can make time, you can make your schedule, you can say no. A lot of things we see as non-negotiable are actually choices that we make over 60,000 decisions every single no 60,000 thoughts, but we make
yeah,
so many decisions every day,
yeah,
but they're mostly the same.
yeah.
So change in the future needs to be changing our thoughts now.
Yes, yeah. It can be done. It can be done, but you're right. We have to get focused on wanting to do that. Do you want to tell me now? You talk about the four pillars. I don't know if we've talked about your four pillars, but do you want to tell me a little bit about the four pillars?
Hmm. I do, because they're very important to me. And this is sort of like this evolution, and in thinking about achieving goals, for
Yeah,
me, I I wanted to build sort of a brand. And I didn't know how to really do that. I took some courses and did some things. And interestingly enough, when I just followed my heart and did the next right thing, the four pillars of what I like to call being well after 40 came to me. And they are in order: mindset, nutrition, movement, and supplementation. And it's in that order because I think you'll probably be like, yes, on this one. You can eat the right foods, do the movement, take the supplementation. If your mindset is not in the right space, and if you are not, really in tune with who you are, what you want in life, and really just feeling complete, none of the other stuff matters.
mhm,
So we have to get our mindset first. It's why I wake up in the morning, and the first thing I do is listen to something that is good for me. I do my meditation. Then I focus on my eating, and my movement is planned for the day. My supplements are part of my routine. So those four things, and then anything else can really be brought into those things. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, mindset. I love that you have number one as mindset, because if your mindset is not there, then it does. I love how we set all these goals on New Year's, right? I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to achieve that goal. Whatever it was that I'm going to write that book. I'm going to get that new relationship or whatever it is that we had, and then by the middle of January,
Mm,
not much further than that, we're all kind of done. And
yeah.
just like, oh well, I'll try it later. And then they're back again. And so my biggest thing for women in mindset is if you don't make a change in
Yeah.
whatever it is that's upsetting you or whatever you want to make a change, if you wake up every morning feeling like, oh, I wish I didn't drink that whole bottle of wine, I wish I hadn't eaten Chinese food, I wish I had didn't have a fight like that with my friend or my spouse, or I wish I hadn't been so grumpy, whatever it is, if you're waking up daily thinking about those things, then that's a problem. And so
Mm.
what ends up happening is you are going to live the same 30 days over and over until you're living the same 30 days every year.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you've gone through 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and you're still waking up worrying about the wine and the Chinese food and the fighting and all of those other things. You have to make that conscious decision to say, I'm worth it,
Yeah.
and this is enough. And I'm going to do whatever I need to do to help myself to be better.
Bang on. Bang
Yeah.
on. I love that. You live the same day, you live the same, it's over and over, and you've gone nowhere, and I know people who are the same as they were years and years ago because they're still, eating the same food, drinking the same drinks, going to the same bar, all of the things, watching the same shows and hanging out with the same people. And the reality is that unless we are focused and we know who we are, what we want to create, there's no roadmap, right?
Yeah.
I love the quote, the best map in the world is useless if you're not following it. You can have it in your hand. You can
Love
have the
that.
calendar, right? The
Yeah.
best map in the world is useless if you don't follow it. You could have
Yes.
it in your back pocket.
Yes.
We have so much at our disposal. And I talked about that in my stories today. We live in an age where we have access to everything we need to help us create the life of our dreams, literally.
Yep.
At the same time, destroy everything. And it has to be a conscious choice to do so. And I think women in particular, we lack belief in self. We don't know who we are outside of mom, teacher, employee, friend. It's the toughest question when I ask women, so who are you aside from, if you could identify yourself, who are you without identifying as, with anyone else or anything else? And they say,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know who I
Mm-hmm.
am.
Mm-hmm.
That's the scary part.
It
You don't know
is.
who you are, you don't know where you're going. So we need to
Yeah.
know who we are in order to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that, Heather, I think sometimes women too are out of touch, or just, when you were saying that, I remember being in my late 20s, and I knew I had problems because I came from quite a crazy family. And I knew I had problems. And so the kids were in bed one night. I sat down at the kitchen table, pen in hand and a piece of paper, and I thought, I'm going to write out everything that I need to, or I want to change, or I need to fix in my life.
Wow.
I wrote down zero because I couldn't, I was so detached. I couldn't figure it out. Nothing could come. I knew there was problems. I didn't know, but I couldn't figure it out, or I didn't want to figure it out because there was that fear. Once I write that down on that paper, now what am I going to do with it?
Well, then you're
So
responsible for it. Yeah.
that's right. So all of a sudden it's like, huh. And it took me years, like, and even today, I think, like, now I'm a different person. But I remember, like, for years I would think about that and, like, why couldn't I? Not one thing did I write on that paper. I sat there for probably an hour and couldn't come up with anything because I think I was just so either out of touch, or I had my blinders on. And to write that down, I had to open up my eyes to what was really happening.
Oh, there's so much fear to actually address what needs to change. And this is the big thing. This is why a lot of women don't reach their goals too, because we're so scared to change. And I was sharing about this the other day too. We have goals. Okay, I'll talk personally. I want
Yes.
to lose, I want to drop that weight, create those healthy habits. The fear is, am I going to be able to maintain that? And it's also a little bit of laziness too. It's easy to stay in a comfort zone. It's easy to eat what we've always been eating, and it's easy to go to the same job, and it's easy to stay in the same relationship, even if it's a bit uncomfortable, but it's familiar. It takes so much courage to say, I deserve better, and I'm going to go for it. And often if we just take that first step, it's not so bad, but we acclimate to the new. And look at you. I mean, the fact that you had the foresight to do that when you were 20, even if it was 0 on paper, like, you still sat there.
I did sit there
That's a big deal. Like,
for a while.
that's a big deal.
Yeah, yeah, I did sit there for a while. Yeah, yeah. I think that yeah, when you say fear, it made me think about, because of course, you know, what I do is I help women with their stories. And I've helped 160 women now with their stories. And I can tell you that 95% of them are terrified
Mm.
to actually do it, because they keep everything bottled up inside. Sometimes, you know, but I know that as we get older, things bubble up and the world says, deal with it or your life's going to get even worse, right? So, you know, but I can tell you that once women get past that fear and they start the process of writing, and then their book, their story is finished and the book is published, and there's such a release of guilt and shame and all of that stuff that we carry around with us. And I think that you know, that goes over too to our lifestyles. You know,
Yeah.
again, if you're eating Chinese food every night and drinking a bottle of red wine, yum yum, you might be waking up feeling guilty and shameful. And
Yeah.
those are the emotions that hold us back.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. What?
Because we feel like we're
Sorry.
bad people. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not good. So with your four pillars, what was the second one?
Nutrition,
Right,
gut
right.
health, gut health, physical health, mental health. They're all related. You know, there's this gut brain axis. When we have, when we have our gut health right,
Yeah.
everything else falls into place. And so, first of all, mindset. Second is nutrition. You know, that has to be the focus. And people joke with me and, oh, Heather, it's so much work, I got to plan my meals. So, okay, well, sure, but you do it now, where it's gonna catch up with you later, like you said, right? You make the decision now, or the decision will be made for you in
Yes.
your future. So really focusing on what's going into our bodies. Is it healthy? Is it nutritious? Again, we have a ton of information online. What is healthy? There's a lot out there. You kind of have to like pick and choose, but it's really simple. It's eat what's healthy, eat what's fresh, eat what help, your body, your body, and your body will tell you. If you eat something, if you eat the Chinese food and drink the red wine, your body tells you, and your mental health tells you the next day, this wasn't good. So then stop doing it.
Yes.
Right. But we have to first say, I want to change and I'm willing to listen to my body. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Fabulous. Number three? What was number three again?
Movement. Okay.
Movement. That's
Really, really,
okay.
yes, really important for women in their 40s. So going back to this whole menopause,
Yeah.
perimenopause thing, the biggest changes for nutrition and movement, two things. Number one, with nutrition is going to be protein and fiber. So lowering the carbohydrates, lowering the sugar, lowering the processed foods, and increasing protein and fiber. Simple to do, but not easy. So simple, protein and fiber,
Yeah.
not as easy when we're addicted to sugar. So take some time to get off of that.
Yeah.
Number two, so the movement, the biggest thing that women try and do to lose weight in perimenopause and to manage some symptoms is to do more cardio or go to the gym for longer. And here's a secret that not many people know, is that doing too much cardio puts your body in a stress state. So you're releasing cortisol hormone, it's your stress hormone. And what happens is your body will then hold on to weight. It thinks it's in a stress state, holds on to it. So what you really want to do in perimenopause and beyond is strength training, strength and resistance. So, even body weight. So think of squats and push-ups versus running. Yeah.
Oh,
So 4 or 5 times a week strength, 3 to 4 times a week cardio. And that's a balance. Yes, it takes planning, but it can totally be done. And it's not like an hour, right? You don't
yeah.
need to go for ages in the gym. It just needs to be short but intentional movement. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the big one.
It is a big one. Why do you think so many people have trouble exercising?
Oh gosh. They think it's hard. But you never regret a workout. You literally never regret a workout. There's never one that I've done where I thought, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done that. But there have been multiple times where I've gone to bed going, I really should have moved today. And I don't like shoulding on
Yeah,
myself.
yeah,
And I do it very minimally now.
yeah.
But they think it's too hard. They think it's too expensive. They think it takes too much time. I'm a trained group fitness instructor. I used to teach, during those a couple years ago, online classes. I taught women to work out from home while their kids are there. All of that, you can do it. It's a mindset thing, right? That's
Mhm.
why first pillar, get over the mindset that you think it's too hard, it's too expensive, you can't do it. Start with something simple. I work with a woman, she's, looking to lose a lot of weight, like 100 pounds. And she's just moving in her kitchen. If she can stand there and march on the spot and move her arms, that's a start. But you have to start.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. Absolutely. And the last one you mentioned is supplements. Now,
Mhm.
I know for myself, I have the last year got myself onto collagen
Yeah.
supplement. Oh my gosh, I can't believe how much better it makes me feel. I just like, oh my goodness. And I think, well, I'm not an expert. I'm a taker. I'm not an expert. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the kinds of supplements that you feel that
Oh,
that us women should be taking?
okay. So again, I will just preface by saying I'm not an expert. I'm a resource. I'm not a doctor. I'm a perimenopausal woman who
Yeah.
takes, supplements to help with my symptoms and I feel good. For me, you can watch, if you go into my social media, you look at me, this is what you see, this is what you get. I'm in the gym 5 times a week. I'm progressively increasing my weights. I am also losing weight. I am fit. I am healthy. I live it. This is not me saying, here, take these things, and I'm, over here doing something
Right.
different. This is
Right.
me. And so supplementation, I started just over 2 years ago taking a product called Liquid BioCell Collagen. Um, and it actually helps my body make more of all types of collagen. So most people don't know that there are many types of collagen in our bodies, about 28. Primarily, we have 3 or 4 that make up about 90% of the collagen in our body. So what the heck is it? It's the glue that holds our body together. Just like, women are the glue that hold our families together. Collagen holds our bodies together. It's responsible for the whites of our eyes, the strength of our hair, the suppleness of our skin, the moisture level in our skin, right? That dry, itchy skin that can
Yes.
happen. Nails, joints, gut health. It's responsible for gut health because over time, as we get older, our intestines start to break down a little bit, and we can have something called leaky guts, little holes in our gut. Also, for women experiencing pelvic floor issues, as we get older, the collagen is responsible for the muscles in there. So we see leakage happening. Collagen is part of that. So absolutely, to me, non-negotiable that women start in your late 20s. Okay, that's how you be. That's how you're well after 40. You don't
Yeah.
start when you're 44 like me.
Yeah.
So collagen is 100% necessary unless you want to age it out. You can age it out. That's fine. But taking a collagen helps.
What do you mean age it out?
If you don't take a collagen, you will be wrinkly. You will have sore joints, likely.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Right? So you can either supplement or not.
Yeah.
Is those are your
Yeah.
choices.
Yeah.
I used to think I could get everything I needed from food. Boy, was I, boy, was I wrong.
I think we could have like in the 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
But now our food, like that carrot that we used to eat, is not the same carrot that we're eating today.
No, no.
No.
Our soils are depleted. Oh, so many pesticides. That's a whole other podcast,
Yeah.
Julie.
Yes. 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 Yeah.
So collagen number one, D3. D3 is as a hormone. It's not actually a vitamin, it's a hormone. And we don't necessarily get enough from food, and we get it, well, it's a long story how it's created, but sunshine, we call it the sunshine vitamin. But taking D3 is essential for a couple things. Mental wellness, it helps to uplift our mood, and it also helps with weight loss. So women looking to lose weight after 40, D3 is a huge one. Magnesium deficiencies are so common. If you've got a headache, sore joints, sore muscles, magnesium is usually, deficiency is responsible for that. So taking a really good magnesium. Now there are many different kinds. I'm happy to have chats with people about that. There's a kind to support heart health, overall wellness. Magnesium also helps things move through your bodies. So, if we're eating foods that are higher in carbs and more processed foods, we may have difficulty with elimination. Magnesium can help with that. I take a really good greens because, again, we can't get everything from food.
Yeah.
I take hormone support that's free of hormones and free of soy isoflavones, that is micronutrient based. So I don't have any of the symptoms that I was talking about, earlier in the podcast about, from the time I started taking it, within a couple of weeks, even being relieved of those symptoms of perimenopause. So those are just a few things that I take to help support my wellness. I've used some things to help with my weight loss, but no weight loss actual products. So just
Right.
more supplements. Yeah.
Yes.
Adding in.
Yeah. Well, you, I mean, I know you're not an expert and you're not advising anybody. I certainly understand that, but boy, you know your stuff. So that's great. And that's great because you're helping women with your 4 pillars and just helping them to find the things that work for them. I have a girlfriend that is constantly, she just drinks uh that bone broth
Yeah.
constantly, and she loves it. It helps her, it helps with her joints, and so I'm like, oh, bone broth, I gotta try that. And I tried it, and for me it worked
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't believe, like, I'll have just a little like a cupful, like a coffee cupful, my hunger's gone.
Yeah.
It's just gone.
Amazing. Uh,
It's
there
great.
are so many natural things that I think we don't give credit to that we can use. And then there's a group of people who love to do those things, who love to make those things and make things on their own. And then there's those of us who are like, can I buy it?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Bone
Yeah.
broth is fantastic because it does contain some collagen. Collagen is a protein. Protein does satiate hunger. If you fill your belly with protein in the morning versus a sugary
Yeah.
breakfast like sugars, muffins, cinnamon bun, those things in the morning. If you eat protein in the morning, you will, scientifically proven, eat fewer calories throughout the day, which is a key in weight loss. So
Yeah.
for me, I educate women: get your protein in the morning, have some at lunch and at night, and have protein focused snacks. Like,
Yeah.
it's not hard to do, and the results are immediate. So easy.
You're so right, because now I'm going to admit something here, but for Mother's Day, I decided I would, because we don't eat much sweets in our house, but I thought, oh, it'd be nice to have some berries and like those little tiny angel food cake things, which I
Oh
love.
yeah.
So we had a few of the little cake things left over. So but no berries. So I'm cutting it in half, and but then I wanted another one. And then
Mhm.
I wanted another one, and I finally threw them away
Yeah.
after I ate 3. I
Yeah.
finally threw them away because and it was that first one that got me. And
Yeah.
normally I don't crave that kind of thing.
Yeah, your body responds to what you put into it. So your example, you eat the half of the angel food cake and you're like, oh, this is good. And your body gets that spike in sugar, gets that spike in energy. And then it's like, I want more of that. And we crave more of it. And it's not that it's a bad thing to have, but when we start having it often,
Yes.
our blood sugar goes up. And one of the things I talk about is inflammation. Inflammation is the source of pretty much all disease: heart disease,
Yeah.
stroke, cancers, diabetes, hypertension, inflammation. And that, a lot of it comes from the overuse of added sugars. And it's not bad to celebrate Mother's Day, celebrate,
Oh, yeah.
eat the things that you enjoy once in a while, but right when it becomes a habit, but you recognized in that moment, what, this is getting me, and then you took your power back and you
Threw
tossed
it
it.
away.
That's huge.
Yeah. Well, I also believe that, it's okay to we should have a cake once in a while.
Yep.
But if we're not going to be able to share a full cake with the full family, then just bring a slice of cake home,
Mm.
so that you don't have all those little angel food cakes sitting there just going, oh, eat me, I taste so good.
That.
And then I wonder why I get up in the morning and I'm like, why why the heck am I 2 pounds heavier?
Mhm. Do you know why? Scientifically why is because that carbohydrate molecule grabs onto three waters in your body.
Grabs onto which?
So that the carbohydrate molecule, so when you're eating sugars, the
Yeah.
carbohydrate molecule, it grabs onto three waters, like three water molecules, and it hangs onto it. That's why you feel like you've gained weight and you're bloating, is because it hangs onto it. Yeah, I mean, science, I know. I know too many things, but
No,
this is
you don't know too many things. That's good. I never really thought about it before. I'm just like, oh great, that's but
yeah,
it wakes you up and goes, "Oh, I don't really want to gain weight just because I ate
right.
uh, angel food cake. I'd
But you
rather,
didn't eat two
yeah.
pounds of food,
Pardon?
right? You didn't eat 2 pounds of food.
No, I didn't. Just a couple of fluffy little angel fruit cakes.
They're so tiny and cute, but then they grab on you, right? So yeah, I mean, it's so interesting once you start to understand what food does in your body.
Yeah.
And just thinking about adding healthy things in, because the more we add, like you talked about bone broth, the more you add healthy things in, the less you crave the other things and the
Yes.
less room there is. We always think about diets as no, no, no. What if we looked at it as, in my theory, my mindset is add in more protein, add in more vegetables, add in more healthy fats, and all of a sudden, the other things aren't coming into your grocery cart. They're not coming into
That's
your
right.
house. They're not going into your body.
You're absolutely right about that because you're not craving it anymore.
Mhm.
It's no, you're so the mindset is so important, and I think it's just being aware, and then even like you said, sometimes you just start to take baby steps, just those little steps, those little things, but then you start to realize what's been happening, and you throw the angel cakes away because
That's huge. That is absolutely huge. I always say if it doesn't come into your house, it doesn't go into your body. And sometimes the hardest thing for people is to take what's already in the cupboard or on the kitchen counter and to toss it because it's already there. And it's like, well, I spent money on it. But
Yes,
the hard thing is having it there and saying, this isn't for me.
yeah,
I,
yeah,
I still struggle with that sometimes. I know that my partner, she keeps some sweet treats in the house, and I have to. She has a jar of Biscoff. Do you know Biscoff? It's that cookie butter.
yeah.
Oh, she takes a spoon of it and she indulges, and it takes all the power in me just to say no to that.
Yeah,
I'll smell it. It
yeah,
smells,
yeah, yeah,
but I will not put it in my body because I know what it does, and it's that discipline, right? Like we need
yes,
to be consistent and have that discipline. The discipline in the moment is saying no, I'm not going to also have a spoon of Biscoff because my long-term goals, it's not serving it.
yes, yes,
And that's the hardest
yeah,
thing, but that's here.
yeah. Well, Miss Heather, you are an absolute wealth of information. And you're a smart lady. I appreciate that. Something I've realized as I've gotten older is that, it's okay not to know it all because somebody else will know it and then they can
So
share it
true.
with you. Your brain's only so big. So, focus on what you love and what you do. And then you can talk to other people like Heather about other things that are important. So, Heather, what would you like to say in closing to anybody that's listening or watching on YouTube? What would you like to say to them? What would your message be?
Gosh. Oh, so many things. We've covered so many things. I think ultimately knowing who you are is the most important thing. You are the only person who you are with from the moment you're born to the moment you die. People will come and go in your life. We cannot base who we are around other people and the things around us. The next step for that would be, how can I be the best at who I am? And what is the identity that I want to create? And really just going back to using our sources for good, saying
Mhm.
no to things that don't serve you, and adding more really good things into your life, doing what feels good and honoring yourself as a human.
Wow, that's beautiful. Oh, well, I have absolutely loved this conversation. And I appreciate you being willing to come and do it. So thank you so much for that. So everybody who's watching on YouTube or listening to the podcast, I am going to have all of Heather's details all of the ways that you can find her in the details section. Now, she's available. She'd love to talk to you. She'd love to answer any questions that you have. So don't be shy. This lady is a wealth of information. So all of that information will be there if anyone would like to contact her. And again, Heather, thank you so much for being willing to do this. It was eye-opening for me, and I just love doing this podcast because I always learn new things and my eyes get open and I get motivated. You're very motivational and inspirational. So I appreciate you being willing to do this. So thank you very much.
Julie, I appreciate you.
Okay, take care. Bye.